slightly today. So lots to get through as always, but just before we get started, guys, obviously we're doing this in conjunction and preparation for our sales room tour. We will be mentioning that during today's presentation, but still plenty of time to book that. Mark and I get on the road now the week after next, starting the 25th of September, and we'll be visiting Manchester, Coventry, London, Southampton, and obviously here in Wales as well. So all the information over that, but don't miss out on that jam-packed day. Mark, it's all yours, pal.
Cool, that was an introduction. Thanks, Jay. Welcome back to another one of our sales room sessions here, live at lunch. As I said, we've done these to help us promote the sales room tour in a couple of weeks, but they're also a great way for those of you actually around Britain who can't get to us, and around the world who obviously can't get actually on the tour. Great way to actually get into a little bit more discussion. We're basically been covering the little kind of bits and things really. Obviously there's many secrets that we're going to share with you actually on the tour and things really. But today's topics, I thought we'd look at the viewing structure from the beginning to end of how it all kind of works together, okay? And then we're going to be looking at selling portrait albums and actually how to bring those into the sale and how they can enhance the sale as well. So those are the two things that we're looking to do today. Jay's on the question panel, so if you do want to actually talk and actually go live with us as far as the session is concerned, then please get those questions in as soon as we can, because obviously this is only a half-hour session. So let's talk about the viewing structure first. What is the best way to actually run a viewing? Well, many of you know that I'll always encourage you to do an in-person sale rather than an online sale, or giving the client proofs and just allowing them to do their own thing. And I suppose I've got to take you back in time really to the good old days, 1985/86, when we launched our portrait studio. Basically, I've been working for a photographer for 3 years before that. And when I began to actually sell my photography, even though we were doing weddings before, we were used to proof booking and everything else with it, we didn't know anything other. And so we basically continued on for the next probably 18 months selling our portrait photography via proofs. So we'd actually shoot the session, put them into a proof album, client would come in and pick them up, they take them home, they come back with an absolutely minuscule order as such, or an order, but we were really kind of great value for money at the time when we opened the studio. So it was a kind of an opening up, and we were getting sales, but they were nothing what I could imagine sales that would become, as it were. So I then went on a convention with the BIPP many years ago up in the northwest I should say, and a 3-day convention up there, absolutely phenomenal, nothing to actually match it today. And basically I saw a guy who unfortunately last year passed away, Brian Ollier, and on stage all of a sudden it kind of was a fake viewing session studio setup. So the guy came in through the side door, switched on the studio lights, came in, a family came in, he did the shoot, he basically, then the client went and said goodbye, so we kind of just had a bit of a fake element to it. And then they went through a kind of bit of a process of making something, but we couldn't quite see what it was. It didn't take very long. And then, lo and behold, he leaves the studio and basically it all goes dark, and then he comes back in again and switches on the lights. So we gather it's the next day, we come back in, and then the client comes back for their viewing. He greets them in the reception area, he takes them through to the viewing room. In this case, the studio has been transformed into a small little viewing area. And then all of a sudden, he hits play, and using Kodak carousel projectors, images were dissolving together with beautiful music and everything else, and it was the most powerful thing I'd ever seen. Now, going back to good old camera club days and everything else, yes, you know, slideshows were new, and yes, you know, 4, 5, 6 kind of projector shows was not unusual, but to see photography being sold in this way was an absolute revelation. And I literally rang my wife from there and said, cancel everything at the lab. We're going to be doing in-person sales. What is that? She said. I said, don't worry about it. That's what we're going to do. And that was the changing point of how it was all going to work. So that slideshow, and then going through with the client, images big on screen, then choosing bigger images down to small, was where it all began and where my business absolutely turned on its head. So the viewing structure hasn't really changed much for me over the past 30 years. It's just got more refined, more special. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. We know exactly how to get to our target average level. And that's obviously what I share with a lot of my experience group and things, really, of actually maximising the sales. So going back to the viewing structure, in exactly the same way as I would have said that client would pick up their proofs in a proof booklet, go away and come back, and now they would be in-person sales. And I'd kind of encourage you all to be in-person sales no matter what, okay? So this should be your light bulb moment if you hadn't had it before. Yes, you've got to learn a few more techniques as far as sales and selling is concerned. They'll come after your first 100, 200, 500 clients. Going through it, you'll get better and better and better, and you'll refine everything that you're doing. And by the end of your 500 clients, you will get to a position where you are hitting your average that you desire time and time again. And you'll have tweaked your price list, you'll have tweaked your products, you'll have tweaked your photography. Everything along the value chain will have had to have been tweaked at that point to make sure it's absolutely right. So the viewing structure is a welcome to the client. They come into the viewing room. We basically start then off with a slideshow. Now, I'm a massive fan of Animoto still. If you're not aware of Animoto, let me just bring that up. They used to be Academy sponsors many moons ago. Unfortunately, they're not now. Budget tight and everything else with it. And so Animoto is an amazing slideshow company that one of the guys actually came through from MTV and all the kind of sharp editing and everything else with it. So if you haven't seen any of their kind of video editing, and it's so quick to do, it's unbelievable, right? But basically it just allows us to have very, very sophisticated video images without any real work. It's 5 minutes in the production of what we're actually doing, ready getting to the client themselves. And one of the things that we're going to be discussing when we're on tour is maximizing what the client sees and minimizing the images. And we're going to talk you all through that, and I'll show you the before and after as far as what a photographer would be showing to a client and what I recommend you would show of basically the same thing. And then we'll kind of put it all together. So for me, the first part of the value chain in this viewing is going to be impress them with the video slideshow. The great thing about Animoto, of course, it comes with music that you can use and sell, depends on the different kind of pricing level that you've got and so on. So within the photography, the first thing is create the basic video to really make them absolutely pop off the page. I'll just put that into the chat panel for you for later on. And just so you can go from there. Jay, I'm not sure if there's a discount code running at all at present. I'm not sure if there's an old one or whatever, but perhaps you can pop that into the chat panel later on as well.
Will do, no problem.
Okay, so why would I use Animoto and not something that was in software? Because the something that is in software is nowhere near as good as the Animoto effect. And I need to relive the session to the client, because perhaps a client's come in on a promotion, dad hasn't been there or mum hasn't been there or whatever it would be, and I need them to bring the tear ducts, okay, to the pricing. So I need to relive that emotion to make them go, oh my God, these are amazing, I need to buy them, blah, blah, blah. And that's the first stage for me, is bringing the images alive, and that is via the actual slideshow itself and things really. So if you're using an in-software slideshow now, like Animoto or Bridge, whatever it be, and even the likes of Pro Select and the likes of, again, they're boring in comparison. So that would be one of my kind of tips that I would actually invest in to actually doing it. And of course, then we can sell it as well. Once the client has then gone through that first process, in other words, reliving the images, then we're going to go through actually talking about the photographs and choosing the photographs. So when we're on tour, we're absolutely going to take this by the first 15 to 20 minutes, step by step, in perfection, to guarantee that you're going to get sales, all right? And I'll show you every little step of the way. I'm going to give you all the scripts so you know what to actually say to the client, so there's not kind of making up as you go along. I was recently at one of my Xperience studios, and I did a fake viewing with them, and they'd only just begun. I said, you just broke my script straight away, didn't you? And they went, oh yeah. I said, and you're wondering now why we're not hitting the average. It's the little things, the repetitiveness, and the little things that we're saying make the difference, I absolutely promise you, to these actual sales. So once we do that, we need to go through choosing the best images. And choosing the best of the best is going to be the point where the client is going to end up with some of the photographs that they absolutely love, and from the ones that they love, that we're then going to actually make the decision, or they're going to make the decision exactly what they're actually going to buy from us. All right. So as far as how we stage it through, we go through the slideshow, then we go to the first edit, then we get the favorites left, and then we actually start on explaining sizes and prices and so on with them. Okay, we take them through that step-by-step element. Once we've got the favorite image, and it sounds very easy what I'm saying it now, but it's a little bit more why I need a closed room with the small groups. That's why the sales room tour is all about, really, so you can interact live and we can play it live in case you don't believe how easy it is. But what we're trying to do is make sure that you maximize and the client understands exactly what you're trying to sell to them. All right. We don't do any hard selling, as I've discussed with all these kind of quick sales sessions that we've been doing over the past few weeks with it. So the viewing structure, once they've chosen their favorite images, then I'm going to discuss the size that they want to buy. And then once we've actually started with the one, then we can actually continue the sale on from there. And that will end up then with an average, we hope, of what we're trying to achieve. And we'll discuss how to achieve your average when we're on tour as well with it, okay? So the structure of the viewing is, the first thing is preparation of the images to make sure the client is only ever going to see the best from the session. They're going to then be put into a slideshow, like Animoto, like I was saying to you, to create and relive the experience. Then we're going to go through a careful, slow selection of the best images until we end up with the favorite photographs. And from there is when we then start the secret of the sales room. And that's basically how we then actually start to help the client buy the size that they want. So if you're looking now on webcam, over my right shoulder here, you can see one of my favorite images, which is basically a Brecon at Kaleidoscope, or a float frame if you're a Loxley's client, or both. And over my left shoulder here, we've talked about it in the past, one of my favorite products to be selling is the installation. And I'm going to show you how to actually sell that to pretty much any portrait or wedding client coming through your kind of experience without any trouble when we're actually on tour. So that's the basics of the viewing structure. Remember, one of the key things in sales is to close the sale. And that is probably a couple of the key techniques that you're going to learn on the sales room tour, is actually knowing how to actually close the sale before it's not too late. In other words, you don't want to take it on too long, but you also don't want to close the sale before they've finished buying. That's where so many photographers fall down, is they close the sale before the client has actually finished the sales. In fact, I was at one of my Xperience studios just the other day, and they were sharing with me one of their problems, and it was that they didn't know until following, but the client had come with $3,000 to spend, but they closed the sale at $1,000. And they didn't know until after the viewing and after the sale had been completed, when the client, as they left, said, you know, we came with £3,000 to spend. And that's what they shared with me. It was like, oh my God, what a mistake I've made here, and things really. Okay, so that's the basics of the viewing structure as the skeleton, if you know what I mean. And we're going to add the flesh onto it, as I said, when we get to the sales room tour. Jake, questions?
Yes. I thought this was quite a good question. Are the sales made before the viewing? So I guess the pre-empt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're going to talk you through the post-session pre-sale. That's a big part of what I teach you, and probably that 1 hour of the sales room tour where we do nothing but that, and we discuss it and how best to do it, will probably change everything that you do forevermore. But that post-session pre-sale is the most essential part in preparing the client to buy.
Somebody who's obviously been on one of our tours before, we're referring to last year's boudoir tour, actually. You said in some instances you might consider a sort of a same-day viewing. What are your feelings on that?
Yeah, that's okay, as long as we've got the time to finish the images. So I want at least to show the client the best of the photographs. If you think that you can just whip the photographs out of the camera and show them straight on a screen or a television, you're absolutely wrong. The client doesn't want to see the bad images. They only want to see how amazing they are. So you would need, I would say, at least a half hour between the session and actually the viewing. Probably takes closer to an hour for many of you. But you want to actually get that. But yes, if I've got to for boudoir, I don't mind doing it, but I know there's going to be a little bit more of liquefying taking a case, and there's going to be some softening done. If I was doing a same day viewing, I probably would also accept that I'm going to have to go and touch the images again. So I wouldn't be at near print level. I would be closer to just the proofing level. So in other words, it would be a quick fix, quick liquefy, quick softening techniques, and so on, instead of absolutely ready to print. Hope that helps.
I think so, mate. Feelings about printed reveals? I guess this sort of reveal wall sort of thing that's going on.
Yeah, reveal wall has its day. I'm not a massive fan of it in family portraiture at all, because it limits me on what I can sell and sell big. Reveal wall is great for female photography, like makeovers and the likes of boudoir and so on, because basically we know the woman having a photography experience of herself alone or with her kids or whatever, is basically got a limited amount of budget to spend. So that will actually, and it's not so much just the spend level, it's actually what they're going to do with the images. And, you know, the typical British woman, my wife, yeah, the last thing that she wants all around the place is lots of images of her. In fact, I probably, if you look around our house, there's only photographs of my wife with our kids, grown men now, or with me. I don't think there is one I can think of now of her by herself and things really. And that's quite typical of most women, that they'll either have the confidence or the lack of it to actually want big images for the wall and so on. So when we talk about the right products for the client, when we're on tour and we're looking at all the different price lists and the different products, we're going to be looking at how we make sure we devise the right products for the right type of client to make sure that we can maximize the sales. So the reveal wall is not bad by any means, but it's good for some things and not good for others.
Brilliant, thanks, mate. The other questions I'll hang on to for now. They're only sort of general ones, so if you want to crack on.
Okay, thanks, Jake. So selling albums. We used to use the album as our secret salesman, Debbie used to call it. Debbie's my wife, if you don't know. And in case you think you have to be a salesperson to be able to sell photography, that's not the case. As I was saying to you, when we changed over from the proofing method to in-person sales with big images large on screen, my wife was a nurse, and basically she went in to do all the viewings for us within a very short period of time, just because I was so busy being the photographer. So Debbie, without any sales experience, absolutely just went into it. Yes, she had the fear of God into her, as far as she was worried about doing it and so on. But again, during, just like you will, the first 100 clients, there are all the big mistakes. The next 100 clients, there's going to be less mistakes. By the time we get to 500 clients, we've nailed it. Okay, that's the key thing. And that's the same in the photography of the sessions, not just the viewing. So we knew that if clients were going to buy big images for the wall, one of the things that they wouldn't be doing is taking those big images from the wall and taking them into work. Yeah, and there wasn't a thing called social media then and everything else, of course. So we needed something that the client was being able to take into workplace. So whether a teacher or a doctor or working in a kind of production line, it didn't matter. We wanted something that they were going to be able to actually pick up and take around and show off their friends. And that's where we hit on to the selling of albums, in fact. I don't remember ever being taught this, if that makes sense. It was something that we kind of came across in our own way. but the selling the albums became our hidden salesman. So talking about the structure of the sales room, one of the things that we bring in to all our discussions with the client is that all the photographs that you view will actually fit into one of our albums. That's absolutely key for them to know straight away. And that's one of the reasons as well that the photographs that we're showing them are all different photographs and not 2 or 3 of the same photograph. Okay, so it means that when they actually put them into the album, they look amazing and it looks like it's been custom chosen. And that's not what we're about. It's about the selection that the photographer decides to show the client is the images that are going to go into the album no matter what. No different than a wedding, really. You know, you're not going to show the bride and groom terrible photographs and then expect them to edit out. Your job is to actually edit out all those terrible photographs and just show them the best. One of my friends who runs a very, very successful studios in the Midlands, they were recently asked by my Xperience group, based on promotions, how many photographs do you show this promotion? And they said, look, worst case scenario, we've got one amazing image. And if it's one amazing image, I can only show the client, then it's going to be one amazing image. But realistically, we want to show, you know, a lot more than that so they can buy other things. So that's a real message out there as well. If you screw it all up, or if the child hasn't performed, or whatever it would be, then less is more no matter what. And that's coming out of, you know, one of the big successful studios of Britain today and things really. So it's not about quantity, the sales, it's about the quality, every single element. So when we start to look at albums, you kind of look at perhaps what albums to use and things really. And I just jumped onto Loxley's there. Let me just pause your screen a minute while I log in, because I don't want you to see my login. Here we go. Give the screen back again. So we're looking up into books and albums here, and there's different ones, of course. When we talk about albums specifically, I think we more refer to, you know, heavy, big, you know, wedding album style instead of something that is more of a kind of a portrait book that's going to go on the coffee table and everything else with it. So it depends on what you want to do. I think the likes of Loxley's Bellissimo, where's it called? The Memento. So these kind of albums are cool, and again they're digital albums, so they have a joint and things really, and it'll kind of go across the page, and they come in a variety of covers and so on, and that's probably the most I would want to actually put the quality end of, unless I'm trying to sell a very high-end product. What am I trying to say? I don't want to make it so expensive for the client they can't afford to buy an album. This is in addition to the sale and not replace off. So I would much prefer to work with the likes of the fine art perhaps, or the lifestyle. So when we start to look at these products, they look cool, they look great, but they're affordable to sell and buy. So when we start to look at the fine art books for a minute, so you can see here 10 spreads. So that's basically 20 pages. That's only £23.50 plus VAT and delivery. So that's going to bring you in around about 45 quid-ish if you're ordering as a one-off. So in other words, we tend to order multiple albums at the same time to avoid all the multiple kind of delivery costs and things really. So this is a quality album that looks great. You've got a choice as far as the kind of the sizing is concerned and the number of spreads that you want, but pretty much most of our clients would be buying a 20 spread album tops. That's 40 sides. We usually only show a client 48 photographs. So if we had to and we needed to actually minimize cost, I could go for an A4, let's say, 10 spreads, and have a multiple page design across the album to fit all the images in. So again, as far as the look and the feel is concerned, you've got to think about what is on brand, and products for brand is absolutely essential. So when we start to look at the things like the lifestyle book, very, very similar. It's a little bit more expensive, as you can see here. So it kind of just starts to make itself too expensive for some of you, but on brand for others of you. There's other things when we look at books that we look at the likes of the book and USB. Now, we talked about the slideshows before. Why is that not showing up? Let's try and do it again. There we go. So we talked about the slideshow with the Animoto before. That's the great thing about the USB. Just because the USB is in there doesn't mean I've got to add digital files to it. It could actually just have the slideshow on there and things really. This is one of the products that we promote within the Xperience group of photographers with us. We get special discount on it as well. But it allows us to actually have a really great product that we can sell, and it's realistic in price. So let's go on and have a little look at that. So the normal sizing and pricing here for a 10 spread book with an 8 gig USB stick. Remember, there's no VAT in this product, so that's beneficial for you if you're not VAT registered. So this product is £99 plus delivery. If you want to have the laser etching and the UV printing as well, that's an extra £11.25, but that's still a great product. That's 20 pages theoretically, 10 spreads. So that's enough for an album to go in there without any trouble. So that is one of my go-to products as far as that's concerned. Another would be going into the signature range in the 3XM Solutions. Absolutely a massive fan of their products. And the box with or without the USB, I think is a great product to be going for and things really. So you know, if you've been down to our studios here, and we're going to have some open days for next year as well, I hope, especially if you're a part of our new Facebook group. It's just been launched today. But things like the premium colors, quality products, quality finish, quality presentation is what my brand is about. But for you, you might need to, these happen to be some of my photographs, funny enough. How weird is that? I've never seen that before. But this is all about quality, and you've obviously got to choose the right products for you for the right kind of element. So choose what is right and make sure the client can afford it. So when we kind of switch back over to here again, and we go into the Loxley's product, if nothing else, we went to, okay, what else can we do? Album-wise, we know these are going to be expensive as such, and they will actually perhaps minimize for some of you. I believe in the last session we talked a little bit about photo books. We'll talk about this a lot on tour, about a little bit of marketing with these products as well and how best to do it. But when you look at the pricing, it's absolutely cheap as chips. But it is a product that feels cheap as chips as well, but it will do a job. So if you're looking for a secret salesman to go out there, or if you're looking for a sweetener for a sale, this kind of product is perfect to add into the mix, because it will allow you to actually add it in and basically just make something out of nothing, especially if you're struggling with the sale. Right, sorry Jay, I overran there a little bit. Questions, bud?
Yeah, we've got a couple, and all of them are around this section now. You answered most of the stuff that I had hung on to, so it's about albums. I think you just touched on it, but do you have sort of a set? How many, and if so, what are your sort of favorites? What are your go-to albums?
Okay, my go-to albums. So as I just said, the photo book one here would be a go-to album as a sweetener to a deal, as a product that I may have to actually give away to kind of either as a thank you or to nail a sale. All right, and that's obviously, we'll discuss that a little bit more on tour. But as far as the other books are concerned, I think my new go-to is the fine art book. Absolutely loving the quality. Again, it's so quick in the turnaround, just being 5 days as well. I can have it UV printed on the front with it, but again, it's just about what fits in with your kind of styling, really. That it's always about that, and it just feels very artsy as well, and I love that kind of artisan kind of quality as well within things, really. Anyway, so those are my go-to products. And as far as the 3XM is concerned, I go for the signature range. As far as the products concerned, where's that coming down to? Products, Mark. I do apologise. Debbie orders all this for me, and I can't find the product. It's the black box product is our most popular, so it's this one, the signature. I did say it was signature to begin with. That's mine. There you go. Great. Comes with 10, but they've also got the new bigger boxes as well, with 20. They've also got the new bigger metallic products. There's so much development going on with 3XM solution at present. It's a great variety. And you know what? If you are a photographer that is using the reveal wall, and I can just promise you, by the way, I was not expecting to see my photographs coming up on here. So that is a complete new. They must have just changed that recently. I've not seen it. But these are our go-to products. And if you're doing a reveal wall, this is the product for it, because of course you can take them straight off the reveal wall, and those 10 images can go straight actually into the box there and then. And that's, you know, for me, it's 900 quid there and done, sealed. Obviously, you might be a different price, probably. I'd go back to the first session when we talked about pricing. Anyway, sorry, Jay. Those are my go-to products.
Well, the other one that came in thick and fast then is advice on pricing the album.
Yeah. Again, depends on the photographer that you are. I say that nobody should ever give you advice on pricing your product unless they know your business, because obviously I don't know inherently what kind of debt you might have, the beginnings, what overheads you have, if you're very good at selling, if you're not very good at selling, experience and so on. But the guides are ×3, ×5, ×7 to 9. Those are the kind of things. So if you're a cheap as chips photographer, you need to at least ×3, if not 3.5. If you're a pro photographer, it should be ×5. So it should be 20% of the overall selling price. And if you're an entrepreneur photographer, in other words, you know exactly what you want to sell, you know exactly confidence-wise in selling, blah, 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 then you'll be at ×7 to 9. I'm a ×9 photographer. Anything else, Jay?
And quickly just came through, and I never thought about it, but it's a really valid question because we've mentioned it twice now. What is a reveal wall?
Okay. I haven't got a reveal wall behind me, and I haven't even got a photograph to show you. Is there a video that we've got online that we've done?
I'm not sure. We might.
Do you know? I'll take a quick photograph of my phone, Jay, and I'll post it onto the new Facebook group for you, okay? And we'll post that online for you straight away and things, really.
Excellent. In that case, that's all the questions, mate. Sorted.
Brilliant. So again, I'd love to see you guys on tour with us. Please, please, please. It's 49 quid. It's been sponsored now as well. It was originally going to be £129. Loxley's and 3XM know the value of my sales. Helping photographers sell more helps them sell more product. Okay, so it's a bit of a selfish reason that Loxley's and 3XM and Kaleidoscope invest into propping up the sales room tour, because they know I do my job right. I was recently, yesterday in fact, in Northern Ireland with a studio, and in less than 12 months, I've doubled their turnover. We're on about big turnover. All right, but in fact, we're not at end of year. We've still got another 3 months to go, and we'll have basically almost trebled their turnover by the end of year. And that is how powerful I am, I promise you. I'm not a guy who makes false promises. I'll teach you the techniques. I'll show you how to do it. If you don't break what I do, it's going to work. Okay, it needs a bit of massaging as far as the pricing, the products, and everything else is concerned. If you keep my value chain intact, you are going to make a lot more money from your photography, and that's why you should come on the sales room tour with me. Again, it's a no holds barred, as many questions. We've even got an hour put aside for the negative sales, and I'll show you how to actually adapt and change to all that as well. We're not wasting any of your time. We haven't got time to actually put you around tables and kind of chat together. This is live, it's real, it's going to make a difference to your business. And that's why the sales room is absolutely essential for portrait and wedding photography. Photographers around the world. It's just a shame I can't do the same tour around the world.
Brilliant, mate. And I even though we've touched on it, I guess you ought to just tell them once more about what happened today at 12 o'clock.
Okay, well, yeah. The boys, at long last, have been out there and done their job. I can't even show it, Jay, because I don't even know what the link is. And I'm not sure if we can see it from the Photographer Academy page. Can we hear? Speak to me, Jay.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I'll rob the screen back as I have it ready to go, and I've shared the link. So,
in fact, if I click onto that, there's a no. That's not it.
Yeah, it is.
there should be something on here where you can basically, I can't show it to you, so there it is. It's the Facebook group. Fingers crossed Jay's done a link out to you as well. I'll post a reveal wall on here later on. I did kick it off. Oh, we can see we've got interaction going on already. Brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, mate, it's going absolutely crazy. We're having great feedback. So, guys, I've posted the link. Come and join the New Photographer Academy Facebook group. The link's live in your chat panel. You can find it from our normal Facebook page as well. If you haven't got it in the chat panel, you can see that the conversations have started. So it's really exciting here. And yes, as Mark said, sorry that it's taken us so long, but we're there. We got there. We're here. Please. Oh yeah, I did. Sorry guys, quickly before we go, I did post in the chat panel the code for Animoto. We do get a 20% discount off a pro account, and the code is TPA17, and that's active now for you. So I did post it in the chat panel. I'm sure I did.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jay. Is there any news? Are we doing anything live on the Academy new Facebook group later on today? Is there anything going on?
Well, I think we discussed that. If you wanted to continue this conversation with us about, about selling and sales, and obviously we can talk a little bit more about the sales room, that we would set aside another half an hour on the Facebook group this afternoon. Mark, you can determine the time. What time do you want to do it from, mate?
Let's do it live from 3 o'clock, shall we? So we'll be online for questions. When I say live, it's not going to be video chat, I don't think, unless it can be. But we'll be on from 3 o'clock till 3:30. So get those questions coming in. It'd be great to actually get the conversation started, as we say. We want to talk about photography.
Obviously, go and like the page, and we'll get you all in and into the group before 3 o'clock. So plenty of time there. So we'll see you live online at 3. Brilliant, mate.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys. We're back. Sorry, go on.
I'll see you all on the sales room tour.
Yes, as I was about to say, if you haven't done so already, sales room tour bookings done via the Mark Cleghorn site. The link is in the chat panel, and of course you'll get a follow-up email from us. So don't miss out, guys. It really is a jam-packed day, loads of valuable information for your business. Monday the 25th, we kick off in Manchester, or just outside Manchester, then Coventry, London, Southampton, and we finish here at the studios just outside Cardiff. Just £49 for the day. And the bookings can also be found from the Photography Academy live events page on that as well. We have one more of these before we do the tour, so we will be back with you next Friday. So if there's anything you would like us to specifically look at, I have asked you today in the registration panel what you'd like, but again, we can chat about that at 3 o'clock live on the new Facebook group, and we look forward to seeing a lot of you online with us then. Cheers, Mark. Thanks, mate. Thanks everybody.